Hey everybody, Levi Hunsaker coming to you live again, and today we're going to talk about why follow up until you buy or die is total BS. So, one of the big things, this is what I was taught when I first got started in network marketing. And you know what? Because I was taught that, I started teaching that to my team. So, as you get going into that, is that the right things to be telling your team? Have you ever felt like you're bugging people about your products or your opportunity? um, Go ahead and drop that in the comments and let me know what you feel. Maybe you just didn't know what to say. Your upline taught you that you needed to follow up until they buy or die, or something like that, something similar to that. And that's where they left it. You didn't know what to say to follow up. And so you kind of fall in this trap of, hey, are you ready to join yet? Hey, are you ready to buy this yet? And you just continue in that cycle of that kind of a follow-up, and people don't like that. um, Maybe you don't know how to follow up. Maybe the follow-up that you're currently doing is not very effective. Maybe you have a high value offering, or a very specific type of offer or product, and it's just needs a little bit more care and touch, personal touch. So, if that's something you're struggling with, let me know in the comments. Um, but it's really comes down to, there is an effective way to do a follow-up. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what I was doing before and what I'm doing now. We're going to talk about what I have found in the new process, what I've learned from that, teaching effective ways to follow up to your team. So when I first started, I mentioned, follow up till you buy or die, right? Because that's what I was taught. But one of the big things is, all that got me was annoying people, unfriending, unfollows, blocks, ghosted, being part of the NFL, the No Friends League, um, you know, burning bridges that we didn't need to burn in the first place. Lots of rejection, lots of ghosting. And knowing what I know now, what I was doing before, I just think it is absolutely crazy. And so stick around. I'm going to talk to you about that. But first, have you ever heard the fortune is in the follow-up? Well, guess what? That part is true. If you don't follow up with people, they may not make the decision to get started into something. You, as a network marketer, you are really collecting a decision. And you do that through the follow-up. So we're taught to follow up. We just don't know what to say. And a lot of times that turns into, when somebody tells us they're interested, all of a sudden the dollar signs start rolling around in our eyes, or we start sounding desperate because we want to make that sale. And so the follow-up becomes, are you ready to join? Are you ready to buy? And really, when it comes down to it, for you and for me, where I was before, that may be my number one priority. That may be your number one priority. But guess what? It's not their number one priority. They have a ton of other stuff going on. They've got work and kids and sports. And you know what? They don't even have enough time for themselves, let alone time to listen to what you have to tell them. And so you got to kind of sift through the people that are really ready. So you got to, with these types of concepts, as you are talking to the interested people, as you're talking to them, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to join? What does that kind of language tell your prospects? Well, that tells them that you're desperate. That tells them that maybe you're not the leader that they want to follow, because that is tangible. They can feel it. And nobody likes to feel like a sale. So be careful with your language and how you're talking to people. And I'm going to teach you a little bit different way on how to do a follow-up that is not quite so annoying. So we talked about maybe an ineffective way to do a follow-up, and that leads to getting blocked or unfriended. You show up at a party and you see these people and they turn and run the other way. There's just awkward tension, even if they stick around. And sometimes you get people to join you just to shut you up. And the biggest problem with that is that you will spend your time, effort training these people, and they're not going to stick around because they weren't really interested to begin with. And so when it comes right down to it, if you have to drag someone to it, you're going to end up having to drag someone through it. Is that the type of people you want in your business? No, we want motivated people, right? So to really build your network marketing business, you want business builders, people who are just as passionate as you are about this business, right? When you can find those people, that's going to become your superpower in your business. And when you don't have that, it's just kind of hard, because it's hard to be consistent. I've been there where holding meetings with a team that's just not showing up. So guess what? For weeks, I did the recordings anyway and just posted them in my Facebook group. And there was a little engagement afterwards, and that just slowly declined. And as soon as I was seeing that nobody was watching them, well, guess what? That didn't give me motivation to keep going. And really, that says more about me as a leader at that time than it says about anything else. But it's hard. It's hard to be consistent. It's easy to get burned out when you're not seeing the results. So let's talk about some different ways to do it now. So the way that I teach my team now is, I don't want to see cold scripts. I don't want to see messages going out to a cold market. They may even be on your list of 100 or 200. But if you haven't talked to them in years, like I did when I got started, I hadn't talked to some of these people since high school, over a decade, and I was sending them cold messages. Oh, I mean, that's a dead giveaway on what you're going for, right? So now I teach my team on how to attract people that are already interested in doing what you're doing. And maybe if they're not interested yet, by the time they reach out to you, they will be. And so it's cultivating that relationship without you spending time one-on-one, belly to belly, because you're actually going to be attracting them. I call it, instead of one-on-one, I call it one-to-many. So once they reach out to you and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in what you've got going on, that's when you get to have a conversation with them. Okay, that's the start of the conversation. So then what happens then? You've now started a conversation. This is where the follow-up comes in. And there's three big things that you're going to, that you want to do as you're cultivating those relationships, is you're going to become postured, right? You're going to be the expert, be the leader they are looking for. You're going to be attracting people to you and building a following. So now let's talk about, how do I follow up today? So they've come in and they've reached out and said, hey, I'm interested in your opportunity. I'm interested in your product. That's when I have a conversation with them. And I'm not telling them about every single little detail. I'm not going to word vomit all over them. The conversation is really about, how can I best serve them? And you know what? The decision, or based on the conversation, the answer might be, I'm not their best option, and that's okay. But instead of having that desperation, be willing to turn down the people that it's not the best option. Show them that you actually have their best interest in mind, and that is going to build trust and rapport better than anything else. So after I've had that conversation, I'm going to reach out 3 to 5 times if they are willing to take a look, right? If they're not, next, right? You don't need to spend your time with people that aren't interested in what you've got going on, because if you have to drag people to it, you're going to have to drag people through it. So the first message, hey, I'm going to send them some information. After the conversation, hey, did you get a chance to check out this video? Did you get a chance to read this? Did you get a chance to whatever you've sent them? And really build a system where they get to actually evaluate and see if something's right for them first. And then you get to do the follow-up after that. So you just want to build a system where you're not consistently talking at them. You want to provide information, but help guide them more than talk at them. Okay. So the next is, what if they saw it? Awesome. Next question, what did you like most about whatever they told you that they were seeing? And guess what? Now the conversation is positive. You're controlling the conversation. And when they tell you what they liked best, you now know what they're interested in. Use that to your advantage and help them have that information. Why are you so interested about that? What was it about it that you liked the most? Okay, they're going to tell you what their needs are. They may not come right out and tell you what their needs are, but they're going to tell you if you're listening, right? So God gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason. It's because he wants you to listen more and talk less. Guess what? That's what we need to do in this business. Listen more and talk less. Ask good questions. Let them do the talking, and they're going to tell you exactly what they want and exactly what they need. Okay? So that's if they saw it. If they didn't see it, well, there's going to be a few reasons why they didn't watch it. Well, number one, they're just genuinely busy, right? Everybody's busy, but they might just be busy. Or guess what? They don't know how to tell you no. That's another reason, and that's okay. But you've got to be able to give them an opportunity to give you an answer, because that's all you're trying to do is collect a decision. And the third reason is they want more info, but they just don't know what to ask. So if they're in this kind of position where it seems like they've ghosted you, this is what I do. So I'm going to follow up 3 more times. The first time, I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask, what other information do you need from me to support you in making this decision? And I'm going to give that a few days. 5 to 7 days is kind of what I'm looking at. And it really just depends on the person and when that comes back up around in my feed and in my list. So the second time I'm going to follow up, I'm going to say, what questions can I answer for you to support you in making this decision? Okay. So now, what information do you need? What questions, right? It's basically the same question, just in a different way. So it seems like a different question. That's the second follow-up. The third follow-up, now this is going to be the last one. And this is how you get them to give you a decision one way or another. The last time, you're going to say, hey, look, I know you're busy. I'm busy too. You know what? If this isn't for you, that's 100% okay with me, right? Now you're giving them an out. You're giving them permission to tell you no. The cool thing about that is you're also giving them permission to tell you yes. So you say, it's okay to tell me no. Really, if this isn't for you, just let me know. I'm going to take you off of my follow-up list. Holy smokes. Do you have enough posture and enough confidence to tell someone that you're going to take them off your list? That's okay. All right. So the first thing that's going to do is it gives them permission to say no. So that could be one answer you're going to get. The second one is they just might just genuinely be busy and they're going to tell you. Or the last one is they might just ghost you. And after that third follow-up, that's still an answer. That's still a decision. But if they just ghost me, I'm going to do a different type of follow-up. Okay. Facebook, for example, has the ability to put people into your follow first or see first list. Put those people in your see first list if they were kind of in the warm to hot range. Now, what that does is it says, oh, if you see their content, you can actually go and like, comment, and interact on their profile. And what that's going to do in turn is that's going to let them see your content. So basically, you're going to be following up with your content just by interacting with them, and let your content do the talking. And if they're interested later, they're going to let you know, and you get to start that conversation again. But it's a different type of follow-up. So now you're not getting into that annoying, constantly messaging, constantly calling, constantly following up until they buy or die. You're just being a friend. Now, you don't have to with that type of follow-up, they're still going to keep seeing your content, but you don't have awkward parties where they just either run away or have awkward tension. No unfriending, no blocks, no unfollows, because you're not constantly in their face from a, hey, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to join? You are providing valuable content and they get to see that. And so just a different type of follow-up. That's the follow-up that I'm doing now. So drop your favorite emoji in the comments and really let me know how this follow-up helps you along your way of building your team. So have a great night, everybody, and I will talk to you later.